no, that's good. What happened to the clock?
It's 6:02. 6:02. Well, it's 6:03. All right. The meeting will come to order. I'd like to welcome everybody here today and let you know that we're all in this together. All right. We all want the best school system possible, and as I speak for the board, I want you to know that we continue to honor our commitments for the levy, our levy commitments. We will honor all those that we promised. And we are also, our goal is to make Canfield a top 10 academic school district by the year 2017. That's our goal. And like I said, we welcome your interaction with us. We want to hear from you. And we hope that you can give us some great ideas and some good insights. So thank you very much for coming. Would you roll call, please? Sorry.
Mr. Fry, President.
Here.
Mr. Boga, Vice President.
Here.
Mrs. Lasich. Here. Mr. Olson.
Here.
Mr. Todd.
Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This brings us to a special presentation for Toys for Tots.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bruce Kirkland. My wife and I, excuse my voice, they call it Canfield Larnies. We've lived in the community for about 44 years. We put 6 kids through the school system, and I've been involved with different veterans groups for quite some time. And the reason I'm here is this is the first year we've had the boxes for the Toys for Tots out of Canfield schools. And we've done a fantastic job. And I'm here to pass these certificates of appreciation out to the board, high school, middle school, CH, and Hilltop. I'd like to throw some numbers at you because a lot of people don't know who we are or what we stand for. Throughout the United States, there's 1,414 Roy Corley detachments with 79,000 members. And we all do the Toys for Tots program. State of Ohio, there's 38 detachments, and our detachment, 494, is the 3rd largest detachment in the state of Ohio. And we done toys this year, 28,980 toys for the Tri-County area. And monetary donations on top of the 28,980 toys come to $48,548. And like I say, it all stays in the community, in the Tri-County area. And I'd like to thank the school board, Mr. George, for letting us put the boxes up here, and the moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, and mainly the kids for helping us out. So at this time here, I'd like to present these. This is from the Canfield Board. Thank you. Canfield High School. Where's my buddy Tony? Canfield Middle School. Thank you. CH Campbell. Hilltop Elementary. In closing, once again, I'd like to thank everybody, especially the kids. And I'm going to stick around in case anybody has any questions, because I do a lot of volunteer work with Veterans Group. And I was reading a crier, and a lot of guys are veterans, men and women, are veterans. A lot of them come out and don't know their benefits, what they're entitled to. I also am a volunteer at the United Veterans Council. I'm their Sergeant at Arms, past president out here at the MVM, the log cabin. And that's Post 44. I volunteer at the VA clinic. And if anybody needs any information about what they're entitled to, I'm not the sharpest tack in the box, but I can get you headed in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, principals reports.
Sure.
Who's going to lead off? Principals reports.
We can lead off.
Look at that.
Mr. Lavery, if you don't mind, principal, since we have a larger audience tonight, maybe the first time seeing you, introduce yourself and
Absolutely.
let them know where you're from.
My name is Mr. Lavery. I'm the principal over at CH Campbell Elementary School. We have quite a bit going on over at CH and at Hilltop, and I'll be speaking partially for both schools. Parent-teacher conferences at both buildings were held last Thursday and again on Monday. During those, we had DRUND presentations available, where parents were able to go in and get a sneak peek at DRUND and what it's going to offer to our community in terms of communication. Those were very well received. We had over 100 people sign up during each conference. That's almost 200 people total just for CH Campbell alone. Interim reports are going to be going out on February 21st across the district. Those are for any students that may be struggling, may have dropped some letter grades. Also, CH Campbell and Hilltop tomorrow are going to be celebrating Valentine's Day with a party at 2:15. Any board members would be welcome to come by and attend if you would like to see the festivities. PTO does a great job of organizing all of those activities and making sure that our students have a great time. Mill Creek Metro Parks is going to be visiting CH Campbell and has been. They're going to be giving the Woolly Critters presentation to the 3rd grade, as well as the Little Red Hen presentation to 1st grade. They offer all of these services free of charge, and they do a great job. So it's a great learning experience for our children. We're very grateful to the Metro Parks for coming out and helping us in that way. CH Campbell is also raising money right now for the American Heart Association through our Jump Rope for Heart. That is organized by Ronnie Haran, our gym teacher, and she starts teaching the students jump roping skills starting in kindergarten, and by the time they hit 4th grade and they give these presentations, they do an amazing job. They've definitely got a lot more jump roping skills than I could ever hope to have. Staff meetings at CH and Hilltop are going to be focusing on the new Instructional Information System, Instructional Improvement System, or IIS, which is just getting rolled out to our teachers. This is part of the Race to the Top initiative that's swept through the entire country, and it's one of the things that it's going to offer our teachers to help them in developing assessments and also tracking all that assessment data so they can adjust their instruction as needed to make sure they're reaching the kids at the level that they need to be. And our weekly common plan meetings have been used to continue to instruct our teachers on guided reading, which is going to be the direction that our reading curriculum is going to be moving towards, and also in DRUN training as well. Thank you very much.
Good evening, I'm Joe Morani. I'm the principal at Hilltop Elementary School. Just 2 quick things for Hilltop in addition, and then transition to another area. Report cards were sent home with students on Friday, January 31st, and we want to congratulate the 49 students who received high honor roll in 3rd and 4th grade. High honor roll is all A's, S's, and O's. And then 104 3rd and 4th graders who made honor roll, which is all A's and B's, S's, and O's. Want to congratulate them on their efforts. And then next week, Hilltop's 3rd and 4th graders will be taking practice OAA test. On Wednesday, February 19th, we will be doing a practice reading OAA. And then on Friday, February 21st, we'll be doing a practice math OAA. We're going to then take the results of that, break it down, analyze the questions, and see what areas we need to hit between now and when we give the actual OAAs in April. And transition from our Hilltop part to our facilities committee. I put on everybody's seat tonight a binder, because I'm an overachiever, as Mrs. Hostetler told me earlier, a binder on what our committee's been up to. We started our facilities committee back in September. I have met frequently from that point till now. And I want to thank the members of our committee, Don Adams, the head custodian at CVMS, Greg Cooper, our athletic director, Rich Hammond, our supervisor of building and grounds, Dave Harris, who is here with us tonight. There's Dave right here. He's an architect from DPH Architecture, and Barry Tanitzer, who's our board member representative on the committee. We started by surveying the custodians and principal of each of the 4 buildings to get an idea of what the needs in the building were. In your binder for each school is a copy of the surveys that were returned by the principals and custodians. We followed up by reviewing the surveys, then by visiting each of the buildings. and to see what the general needs of each building were. In your folder tonight is a list by building of what the security needs for the building are, and then just the general building needs. And again, we've started addressing a lot of the security needs in the building, working with Mr. Jordan. Some of the things that have occurred so far, new cameras were installed at Canfield High School over Christmas break. I think that Mr. Tullio and Mr. Mullivan addressed that at our last board meeting. CVMS, C.H. Campbell, and Hilltop are currently working with SOS Securities. They've been in all the buildings looking at where camera locations can be, and I believe we're in the process of finalizing that to have those installed at the middle school and both elementary schools. Mr. Hammond has been working with several companies to look at how we can improve the door locks and ways of locking our doors in an emergency at all the buildings. He was at Hilltop yesterday. They're looking at how, that the movable walls do not have very good doors handles on them, so we're looking at how can we replace those, how can we make those rooms lock easier and make those areas more secure. So we've been working on a lot of the security needs that the buildings has. That is one of the things that we promised in our levy campaign, that we would upgrade the security systems in the building, and we've been working very diligently to make sure that we are addressing the safety needs for our students and staff. Again, the general needs are also listed in there. All the buildings have needs due to age or just general upkeep, and those are listed by each building in your binder. Our next steps on the facility committee are going to be continuing to work with Mr. Jordan to address the security and general needs of each building. We're also going to assess each building needs on a regular basis and continue to update Mr. Jordan and the Board of Education as to what those needs are. Any questions from the board regarding our facilities committee?
Thank you.
Again, at our next meeting, you'll have more time to review this, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. Yes, sir.
Just as maybe a long-term goal, I've had a number of people ask me, why aren't we building new buildings like Austintown and everybody around us? I think it would be a really good idea if we could draft like a hypothetical proposal and show that Austintown, well, they get 45% from the state. Youngstown got 90% from the state. We get 18% from the state. I think it'd be a really good idea to make that information available so we can explain why we aren't going after this. Now, if there seems to be all these people here come and say, we need to do it, then it's a different matter. But I'd like to see us do that maybe by fall, and just have some information available.
I was going to say I'd have it by the next board meeting, but if you're going to give me till September, we'll get to it.
March 1st.
With OAA coming up, I may need a little bit more time. We'll get you something, Mr. Olson, in draft form soon.
Mrs. Lasich and I are going down to see our state senator, so maybe that'll change by the time we're done in early March. So.
Okay. Again, thank you very much for your time, Doug.
Thank you. All right.
Hi, I'm Tracy Hostetler. I'm the middle school principal.
Mara Banfield, the assistant principal.
So last week, Mr. Fry asked us how we help some of our more seasoned staff understand new concepts or new technology. So I did outline that for you if you'd like to take a look at that. In curriculum and data, we have begun the practice OAA testing. We had reading yesterday. We have math tomorrow. We have science next week. We will use that data to assess where our strengths and weaknesses are, spend some time reteaching if there's weaknesses, and moving on from those areas of strength. The middle school has also taken some time to investigate Inventor Cloud. Inventor Cloud is spectacular, and one of our technology teachers is here today. It is a STEM-oriented program where kids can use equipment at another location to create 3D images. There's etching, there's laser cutting, and it's spectacular. We would have access to all of their tools and their machines, and our kids would be learning a STEM-oriented problem and project-based curriculum. Grade 5 students would design and build projects meant to solve energy-related issues. Grade 6 would be engineering and problem solving. Grade 7 students would learn about design, and they would redesign existing products to make them better. And grade 8, the students built a futuristic STEM product. And as I said, our ladies visited Chofin and were very impressed. In the Teaching Learning Committee, we have visited highly performing schools in reading and language arts. Again, Mr. Maroney alluded to guided reading, maybe it was Mr. Lavery, guided reading being implemented as a process for reading in grades K through 8. The Teaching and Learning Committee will reconvene shortly to discuss that. And again, Mr. Maroney mentioned safety, and the middle school would like to thank Alex and the board. We are getting buzzer systems and camera systems on the front of our building, and we're also getting cameras within the building, and it just makes us so happy that we're just one step safer for all of our kids. So thank you.
As far as stakeholder communication, as Travis alluded to, Drund is at our parent-teacher conferences right now as they're going on, and they were here last week to give a sneak preview to parents. Same setup where they can sign up and get the early sign-on and go explore it. But that's going to be a neat way where we're going to be able to have a closed community within our Canfield local schools and send out information. So more information is forthcoming there. As far as our e-newsletter, we met as a communication committee last night and we discussed several things, including moving forward with the website, taking a look at our e-newsletter that is being sent out weekly currently. And if you're not getting that, please email me. Again, my name is Mara Banfield, and I can put you in the information system for that. But we are trying to get information out to you as much as possible about all the neat things going on in our schools. Winter sports are wrapping up. We have our wrestling team finished first at the EOWL tournament. Boys basketball is playing tonight. The 8th graders, 7th graders are playing tomorrow. Girls basketball, 8th graders are playing next week. And tomorrow, Math Counts is traveling to Youngstown State. We have about 16 kids that are going down there to participate in that.
Thank you.
Evening. I'm John Tooley, principal of Canfield High School. We'll keep it very short because I know we have a full house and our students really want to get home and do their homework. All right, our high school staff completed our drone training on February 4th, and the high school is now ready to start training our parents. Actually, tomorrow night during our parent-teacher conferences, the individuals from Drun will be out in our media center. We will have a display set up out in our main lobby, and we'll try to direct as many people as we possibly can down to the media center after they meet their conferences. So we're kind of excited about that. Yesterday, we had the staff had an opportunity to meet with the Chromebook representative to ask questions and to learn more about the device. And we felt that it was a very productive day yesterday. The staff had an opportunity for a week to experiment and play with the Chromebook before the rep came in so that they had questions prepared and ask anything that they wanted to and help them out as much as possible. Again, that was another very productive day. The second round of the Straight A Fund grants being released. Yesterday, a couple of us attended a webinar. There's $150 million that has been allocated by the state for the second round. Each school district is eligible for up to $5 million. It really provided us an opportunity to get a better insight as to maybe why some of the reason why we did not receive the grant the first time around and what we really need to concentrate on possibly. So it's going to be a very busy probably next 5 weeks as we try to put together another proposal and try to receive some additional funding for our district. Finally, on Friday, February the 7th, the Vindicator printed an article about the number of students who need remedial work in math and English when entering a 4-year state institution. And that's the article that I passed out to you. We need to, if you look at it, you know, Canfield, 23% of our students in math. English, there were 24%. And 12% of our students needed both math and English. We're not real pleased with those numbers. It's something that we have to work on as a district. But I will tell you, if you look through the other districts and see what the other districts are putting out in their numbers, it makes us proud of our students that graduate from Canfield High School. And one thing that the article really doesn't point out, the number of our students who go on to colleges outside of the state of Ohio, and the number of our students who go to private colleges. And those students that are accepted outside to the Harvards and the Stanfords, the Miamis, the John Carrolls, they're not needing remedial math or English when they're being accepted there. So the numbers are a little off, but still it's something that we're proud of, and we're going to continue to work on to try to improve those numbers. Okay?
Hi, I'm Mike Moldman. I'm the assistant principal at Canfield High School, and I'm just going to quickly go through a lot of activities at the high school. January and February are incredibly busy times in high schools. I mean, it's every night there's something going on somewhere with somebody. We had Spirit Week last week, carrying on a tradition, a long-standing tradition from Canfield High School. Parents who graduated, you remember Spirit Week, and the kids really enjoy it and they like it. And we raised a lot of food and non-perishable items for the Canfield Food Bank, so we're real happy about that. Because of the snow days, the weather days we had in there, it kind of goofed us up a little bit, but our kids made adjustments, and we're actually still collecting canned goods for the Canfield Food Bank for the rest of this week, so we're excited about that. On February 8th, we had our Sweethearts Dance over at the Embassy, and everything went great. Wonderful time was had by everybody. Tomorrow night we have our conferences, and again, Mr. Tullio talked about DRUN, some of the things going on there. What are we gearing towards? March 17th through the 21st, OGT test week. That's a huge week for the high school. All the sophomores will be taking the OGT test. This determines a whole lot of things as far as the school's performance index rankings across the state, and we're gearing up with that right now, really thinking a lot about that. On February 20th, I forgot to mention this, we do have 8th grade orientation, where the current 8th graders, incoming 9th graders, will come to the high school in the evening, and there is a program set up. We're in the process now of informing parents about all the details about that, but that's a tradition at the high school. I think it's a very valuable thing. We have a good time that night. Extracurricular activities. Our speech team. I don't know if they've lost the tournament this year. They had one tournament where they had to split up, and I think they finished second and won. But we qualified 33 kids to the state tournament again. This speech team, they're something else, I'll tell you. What they do, just Mr. Hamilton and his crew, fantastic. Athletically, it's been an extraordinarily successful winter so far. Boys basketball is going great. Girls basketball, they drew for the tournament. Our wrestlers won the EOWL. Our bowling team, last year's state champ, we get these guys every day and get them primed for the next tournament. They're really excited about that. Our swimmers, a ton of swimmers made it to the districts. Our hockey team, we're one of the few schools in the area that offers hockey, that our kids, we're the only school, yeah, I can say it that way. But, these kids, there's so much to do at Canfield High School. Kids that go to Canfield High School, if you're not involved in an activity, I just don't know why, because there's just so much going on. Our spring play is coming up. We're working on that already. So again, just a ton of things. Boys basketball, we beat Poland the first time. We came up a little bit short, but we're telling the kids, hey, when we meet them in that district final, which we anticipate doing, that we're going to get them. So put that in there too. That's it. Thank you.
One other quick comment about the information that I passed out to you. If you please, make sure, read the second page about halfway down. Just recently there's some commercials on TV. People are recruiting for their school systems. Read the information that's put in the paper there. So if you ever question about the high school and the quality of education that we're putting out at the high school, there's some numbers there that really will shock some people when they read that, about remediation and the need for remediation.
Question, when's the drone presentation tomorrow night?
It'll happen throughout the evening.
Starting?
3 to 9.
Okay, so
During the conference.
if I stop in,
Just
just come on over to the
Sure.
center. All right. I always need remediation. Computer stuff, yes, go ahead.
Speaking of remediation, that was a perfect segue. I'm the liaison for C.H. Campbell, and I spent one of the conferences walking around talking to some teachers and some people. I'd like to issue the same challenge to you that I issued to a few folks over there. I made it clear when I was running for the board that I'm for the average kid because that's what my kids are. And we have great programs for gifted and great programs like, and you'll be gone, the only reason I want to point this out about the summer remediation for the OGT test. We will have most likely math remediation, we'll have some reading remediation. I would like to see if we could turn those into camps. I have a daughter who is still struggling with math. I want to do something with her to help her prepare for Algebra 3, and she doesn't need remediation, but she needs help. And right in front of you, Mr. Moldavon, that young gentleman, look down, yes, I believe that he and his lovely bride offered to do like a computer camp, if I heard that correctly? Okay, thank you. But anyhow, I'd like to see some things of that type of activity happen in the summer where we can do it at the elementary level, we can do it at the high school level to help the kids, the 25% that need it. My boys needed math remediation when they went to Wittenberg. They were okay on English. My son Chris took him till just about his junior year and he had to negotiate to get out of it. But he did, that's why he's in sales. But anyhow, as your plans go forward, if you could think about something like that, particularly for the summer, I think it'd be great.
We most certainly will take it under advisement, see what we can come up with. Any ideas, naturally, we will share with the superintendent and bring to you as a board. The other thing, in the very near future, we will be bringing to the board a couple new course offerings through the STEM program. You know, we always talk about the higher level. Well, the STEM program reaches all the way down through, and we're adding 2 new STEM classes, programs at the high school next year, Mr. Jordan. So we're moving. I know we've talked about that before, so I think we're headed in that right direction. As far as the summer program, we can sit down and see what we can come up with. Okay?
Well, Mr. Maroney has till September. How about you for March 1st?
Well, this year or next?
That's pretty good. All right, thank you very much. The board has been given minutes prior to the meeting. We have the presentation of the minutes for January 22nd, 2014 and February 3rd, 2014. Oh, now principals, you may
Go ahead.
go and get a nap. Okay. Before you go to sleep.
Cover the other duties.
Oh, that's right. Some people are going to a basketball game.
Do you have open house right now?
All right, so the board was presented with minutes from January 22nd, the regular meeting on February 3rd, the special meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, questions? May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
A second? All right. Discussion? Being none. Could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes. That brings us on to the treasurer's report.
I'd just like to comment on the financial report by fund. General fund, you'll see the balance is a little lower than usual. We're waiting for the real estate tax bills to go out and get some advances on our 2014 money. That's the only comment I had on the first report. Just a couple checks I'd like to go over. On page 3, you'll see about halfway down, Leak Oil Company for $7,300. It's a purchase of diesel fuel. Down toward the bottom, you'll see a check to First for $4,000. That's a registration fee for the Jets competition that they'll be going to. Anybody have any questions on any other checks? The appropriation report, 7 months have passed. We're at 58% of the year has passed, and you can see we're just under 60% appropriated. So the budget is in line with what we adopted at the beginning of the year. And purchase orders, new items start on page 9, items that you haven't seen. And go to page 11, the middle of the page, Myers Equipment, you'll see the 5 buses for $437,000. We'll be adopting a resolution tonight to finance those. Any questions on any of the new purchase orders or old? And then the investment report, have a new, the last item, Federal Farm Credit Bank at 0.94%, a little bit better than those money market rates that you see at the top of the page. And then hopefully we'll be investing in some new CDs and other treasuries as the advances come in this month, or especially in March. So, there's no questions. Need a motion to approve the reports.
I hear a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Questions or comments? Being none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes. That brings us to comments, and we'll be with you now. Ashley Leslie.
Okay. Kevin Sheets.
Well, you need to give him at least a 5-minute warning.
My wife, I threw him under the bus.
Well, you signed him first.
I
I
signed
was
you
signed
first.
in first.
Either way, you're
Either way, I'm
going
going
first.
first. There have been a myriad of rumors regarding the merger or consolidation of the elementary schools. I don't know how far in the process this is going, but I'm here to express concern over the plan that we've heard. The plan that, as it's been propagated, is that the CH and Hilltop will be divided by grades. Lower kindergarten through 2nd, I believe, at one, and 3rd and 4th at the other. We just barely passed the recent levy. And I haven't seen any information about how this will affect the finances for the school district. Just thinking about it moving forward, I can't see much in the way of savings. Since you'll still have 2 physical plants, you'll still have basically same number of students, same number of teachers, but I can see additional expenses. You will now be busing rather than from a portion of Canfield to one school and a portion of the Canfield to the other school. You're going to be busing from the entirety of Canfield essentially to both schools. So I can't see additional costs, and nobody has brought up any sort of financial breakdown on how this has worked. In addition, I think other issues that are concerning to us is the special needs programs. Currently in the elementary, I believe there are 1 campus. If you split according to grade levels, you're going to either have to duplicate special needs at both campuses, or you're going to have to bring students from one campus to the other for their special needs classes. There were some other issues, and I'm blanking on them at the minute. Different kids, parents who have children in more than one grade level will now have children at multiple schools, which will limit their ability to interact at their school and be involved at a particular, either one of the campuses. In addition, on the 2-hour delay days or snow days, or parents that have to drive their children to school, they may now have 2 physical locations to go to rather than 1. I don't know how that will work out with the time frames. I know at Hilltop there's a fairly small window for drop-offs in the morning,
And if you had to do that at both schools, it may be really difficult to be able to drop off both places. So those are a few of the issues that come to me at the top of my head. And I was wondering, if there is going to be a chance for those to be addressed, and are the parents going to be, informed of where this is and where it's going?
Sure. Initial stages. We recently had a meeting with both of the staffs. We feel it's very important to have interaction and collaboration with them to write down positives and negatives to such a move. Our next step is to present some information and research to the board. In no way, as you can tell if you looked at the minutes or the agenda tonight, were we going to vote on anything. Never was thinking that. We've already scheduled 2 open forums for the entire community, one at each of the elementary schools. That's going to happen at the end of the month. We're fact-finding and gathering information at this point. No decision one way or the other has been made. We've been very clear at our meetings with our staff and presented it as such. Again, building level administrators along with central office staff, we've done some research up to this point. We are not even close to prepared to make a recommendation to the Board of Education. So yes, communication's key. You mentioned levy. The one thing that we wanted to do during the levy campaign is communicate and get involved and have conversation with parents and community members. We felt we did a fairly good job at that. We don't anticipate changing our philosophy in any way. This is not something that we're going to try to sneak through and have a board act on without any parent input. It's your children. It's your community. We still value that. You, in one way or the other, through elected officials, hire us to do a job. That's what we're here for. Now, what we will do as we move forward is do what's right by youngsters. We want to make sure whatever decisions that are made, what other recommendations are put in front of the board, it's going to be for the betterment of a youngster's education and the social aspect of each individual child. There are positives to it. There are negatives. There's no doubt about it. But again, if positives outweigh betterment of youngsters, 5 years old all the way through, that's what we're going to look at. And we're going to carefully take a look at that. So again, initial stages. No decision has been made. No timeline by the Board of Education has been laid out in front of them. We haven't mentioned anything to the board. We want to have this decision by this date. If we feel that we don't have the appropriate information at that time, there's not even going to be a recommendation to the board. So again, what's going to be best for youngsters? That's what we're looking at.
We are here to listen and to learn as much as we can. And we are here to make sure that if there ever is a vote, that the word will get out, that there will be a vote on that. And if you would, I don't know if the superintendent has or the communication committee has your email. If they do, if they don't, please get it to him. And so you'll be emailed. And anybody here that we don't have their email, please get the email to us. And we will make sure you are emailed if there's any type of discussion or decision that's going to be made, so you can be here. We're not trying to do anything. We're here for the betterment of our kids and the education system. That's why we're here. And I told you that we're here, we're all in it together. There's nothing going to be snuck by or anything else. But please, if you don't have your email in, get your email in so that we can notify you and you can be kept up on all the things that are going on in the system. And that's why we do it.
We have an adopted strategic plan, vision, mission statements, and our core beliefs. And those were created by not only district personnel, Board of Education, but community members. And we are bound by those. And we will not deviate and change our thought process from those. So if we feel that our core beliefs in CANFIELD, we will meet those with any type of recommendation of a change, then that recommendation will come through. If we don't feel that our core beliefs are met and followed through with, then there will be no recommendation.
Who's next?
Beth? Did you want to speak to?
Yeah, I'm just concerned about losing we bought here for the reason that it was a small community. And I don't want my son to lose their community school, their neighborhood school. And I feel like when you change that the way I've heard it's going to change, you're going to lose that. My sons are going to make lifelong friends through here. And I think adding those school the way I've heard it's going to be added, you will lose that. You will lose that connection. My sons will probably be fine. But what about the kids who don't have a stable person in their life or their family or their community? My son knows teachers that he has not even had in class, and they know him. And to me, at a personal mom level, I love that. I love that he wants me to bake cupcakes for his first grade teacher. He's now in 4th. I mean, that is real to me. And it may not mean anything to numbers and budget, but that is why we built here. We could have moved to Cleveland. We could have moved to Pittsburgh. We could have moved to Boardman or Austintown. We chose not to for that reason. And that's very important to me. And I hope we don't lose that.
Okay, thank you.
Tom Ferguson?
My name is Tom Ferguson. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Canfield Lacrosse Club. And before I go on about the lacrosse club, I'm just curious, how many board members knew we had a lacrosse team? That's pretty good. That's good. How many people know what lacrosse is? Excellent. You know, it's one of the fastest growing sports in the state and across the country. And it's in the major cities, and it's working its way into areas like Youngstown. And last year was our second year. We worked closely with Athletic Director Greg Cooper as a club team within the Canfield School, taking our baby steps along the way. Our goal, of course, is to become a club sport as part of the team, or part of the school. Last year, we had 25 students participate. We finished 8-5, which sounds pretty good. The impressive part was our first game we lost 0-16. So our learning curve was just phenomenal. So the kids really improved. Here are some of the kids tonight that came to join the meeting. We expect to have about 35 kids this year. And promoting into some of the schools would be a great way, like the 8th grade orientation would be a perfect opportunity to introduce lacrosse to the school. We're here tonight to request field access, not to interfere with any other sports, just to kind of be able to access the field when it's available, and in particular to schedule some home games so the community can kind of find out about lacrosse and about the sport, and so their kids can get involved. We have 5 games we'd like to schedule at home, and also would like to have access to the practice field, the football field, the main field, when it's available. And again, our intention is not to step or try to edge our way in, but just take available time when it's there. You know, we'd like to continue, like the comment said about the Canfield being a great school district, and really offering so much to the students, so many extracurricular activities, and in keeping with that tradition, and with a sport that's growing like lacrosse, I think it's a perfect timing to introduce it and take the next step. And thank you for your time, and that's what we're asking for, is field access.
You mentioned Mr. Cooper. You had some conversations working with him that way. We can have some additional conversation from central office with our athletic director, and we'll see the availability. I don't know if you want to touch on anything else there.
Well, 8th grade orientation, you can set up a table, or so there's all kind of groups that are represented during 8th grade orientation. So if you would want to set up a table with a sign-up sheet, you could easily do that. Just call Mr. Trulio and just ask, and I'm sure that would be granted to you to come. And so when the 8th graders come in, there's in the cafeteria, there's all kind of displays usually and sign-up sheets for different sports.
We've talked about also the opportunity maybe during our open house, having each of our clubs, each of our organizations, booster groups, have some sort of presentation available so to gain that interest of our youngsters, and that could be another opportunity for you folks.
Excellent. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Can I kind of interject with the lacrosse? We have high school lacrosse, and one of the questions was, how do you guys stay competitive? Because we don't have lacrosse for the little ones, and so they're these guys are playing lacrosse for the first time in 9th grade. So, right, most of them, I'm assuming.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so no, I really would like to get my youngsters in lacrosse at a little bit earlier age. Canfield does offer all these great opportunities for the kids, and it's another great way to get into college. Both of my nieces are playing in college. One's at Duke, one's going to Michigan next year, and they get pretty much full rides, or pretty close to it. So, yeah, and I mean, the great thing is it's not so competitive like your football and your baseball. For the men and for the women, especially for the boys, you don't have to be 6'2", 220 pounds to play. You need the really... You don't have to.
Or you can. Either way, okay.
But anyways, I think it's another great avenue to get our kids involved, you know.
And we didn't pay you to come here tonight.
No, you didn't. I'm really glad to see you here.
That's great. And we did put on a clinic this summer for the youth, and it was very successful. It was that week of where we had 2 weeks of rain, so it was really tough to schedule it in, and we rescheduled, but the parents that participated really enjoyed it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that. I think there is a lot of interest.
Oh, there is.
Started young.
We're planning on doing that even more so for the younger kids. We're kind of working our way backwards, trying to get the 7th and 8th graders involved, and then we'll work our way down to 3rd
If you have a
graders.
summer camp, it'd be real nice to fit in with them. Do any of the other area schools, are they putting the lacrosse programs together?
Boardman is up and running. We help them get their program together, and they're a step ahead of us a little bit as far as being adopted by the school. I think their Board of Education, well, I know their Board of Education adopted them as a program, but they have a long way to go to be competitive. We're not necessarily asking that. As a matter of fact, we don't want that.
Portland's going in as a D1 this year. They're going to have a rough time. It's going to be tough.
But the only other school, and this is an important question and answer, is Cardinal Mooney. They're up and running for 6 years. And this young lady right here was right on point. There is the growth in the high school level, in the youth level, but more importantly in the college level, especially the Division III. And my son plays Division III lacrosse, and although they don't offer athletic scholarships, somehow, some way they find academic scholarships to get the kids not only in, but to entice them further, and it helped out a lot from our family and our perspective. And every kid we have, player we have, has that potential, and if we start them early, even more so. So that's a great point. But Cardinal Mooney, obviously we're in competition, or they're in competition with us to get our best and brightest, and they offer the program, and I think it's important that we have a program. Boardman thought it was important for them to develop their program, and next year we're going to work with Austintown and Poland, and possibly Niles. Niles was scheduled to come up and running this year, but they kind of petered out a little bit. But we'll get them going next year.
Yes, and so with that said, and you bring Mooney into the equation, and then you talk about Mooney building the new schools out here, you know, we want to keep the kids in Canfield, at Canfield High School, not at Mooney.
Yeah, they're after
down the road.
No doubt about it. We don't want that.
Which means...
Now they're a real threat instead of a marginal one.
Can you introduce the players that you have here?
Sure, I'll let the coach do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, even easier, and introduce yourself. Go ahead, you start out.
Ryan Jones.
What year are you?
I'm junior.
Okay.
I'm Kyle Hydo, I'm a senior.
I'm Dominic Hannaford, I'm a junior.
Grant Cooley, I'm a junior.
Jeff Williams, a junior.
I'm Jaden Sang, I'm a junior.
I'm Gavin Kostelic, freshman. And my son is Seth O'Clayton, he's a freshman playing, and I think...
My Jacob is a junior playing. And Mr. Maris just left. His Cameron is a junior playing.
Coach, what's the closest league that you can associate yourself with?
I'm sorry, the closest...
Closest
closest high school league you could associate yourself with?
There aren't per se leagues in Ohio. There are divisions. The conferences are being developed individually by the geographical location of teams. Obviously, we're out on an island. As a matter of fact, the Youngstown area is the last area in Ohio to really have lacrosse programs up and running. Our hope is to Boardman, Poland, Niles, Austintown. That helps us out a lot as far as travel. We travel and schedule away games on Saturday, give us a little bit more of a buffer for travel and allow the parents to be there. So we're only able to schedule 10 games and we're allowed 15. So we get these other local schools up and running. We'll have our own conference and have a lot more opportunity for the kids to play during the week, at least one game. That's the plan. And so that's where we're at right now.
I just know hockey was in the same situation you guys were in. They've been around for 17 years. Believe it or not, the Ghoulias are aware of this. Grant played hockey, had a very disturbing injury at the beginning of the season this year, as I understand. And they aligned themselves, I believe 7 years ago now, with the Greater Cleveland Hockey League. We're the only school in Mahoning, Trumbull, or Columbiana County. So I was president of the CANFIELD Hockey Boosters for 5 years, so I'm very familiar with what you're going through, and it did wonders for us. It's a lot of travel, but when you're here trying to find somewhere to play or someone to play with, you go up there and you play the teams that kick your heads in, but still the kids are getting to play. And through that, we then started the developmental team with hockey, and we got a coach, and you try to schedule them in, and it's fluctuated from 6 to 20 kids, and and they can play from 4th grade through 8th grade on the developmental team. And it might be something you guys want to consider. Like I said, and I'm sure the Ghoulias could attest to the many nights we've driven up to Cleveland and come home with our tails between our legs. But the kids played, and there's a lot of friendships there, and I would truly, one of the things I like about that, and I wish you would come forward and ask for your board's recognition, because it gives the opportunity for kids that don't like other sports the availability of putting that Letterman's jacket on. It's a big thing for a lot of kids, and it might be hard for you to find local teams here to play, but don't give up on what you're doing. It's a great thing. Keep it going, and it's a great sport. And there is a lot of Mrs. Ghoulia's got my number. I could pass along. There's a lot of money sitting out there right now, and grant money available for lacrosse, and there was tons of money out there that people didn't ask for last year through the NCAA to build feeder teams. So I could help you out with some of those contacts. So, but you might want to consider that a younger, developmental. And of course, you can't take it on yourself, but we have a separate coach that does that, and it's a nice program.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And hockey players make great lacrosse players, by the way. Especially in Canada, it's their #1 sport. No, we're developing coaches too. We kind of have a Steel Valley lacrosse program that right now it's just membership schools are Boardman and Canfield. We're going to be able to develop the youth program with that, so we can combine and make sure we have the numbers to actually get it up and running and be competitive. But we're also developing the coaching. As you know, coaching is everything. So we have a good plan for that, and that's crucial.
I don't think she would mind me saying this, but our assistant principal at the middle school, I don't know if you know Mrs. Banfield, she has quite a bit of experience in the lacrosse arena. She still referees Division I lacrosse college levels, so tap into that resource whenever you want, if you haven't done that. But again, I'm sure she has a lot of resources and a lot of contacts.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and be assured you're not going down a road that hasn't been well traveled. My experience is that girls softball started out the same way. Baseball started the same way. It wasn't long ago that soccer was a club sport. My son was on that. So it's just a matter of make it fun, and the kids enjoy it, and you build it, they will come.
I think that's exactly what we're trying to do. We were advised to take small steps, build the program, get recognized, and then kind of go from there. Sell the program that way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck, yes. Next.
Dave Wilkerson.
I'm feeling old. The last time I addressed this board was a quarter of a century ago. I feel old.
All the faces.
Yeah, I don't know any of you. I just, rather than enumerate all of my concerns about this realignment, which, by the way, I provided to Mr. Olson in the form of an email that I'm sure he is welcome to share. But what I really want to say is, we need to really be assured as a community before we change something, a 40-year tradition that has served this community well by reorganizing these schools. We really need to think through all of the issues, all of the concerns, and there are a number of them. And I know we're going to have those meetings. I think that's a great thing. I think we need to go through all those things. And I think a lot of parents and I think the staff need to be sort of sold on this idea of what those pluses are and address all of these minuses before we take on that change, because there are a number of concerns with kids going to South Range and Western Reserve and the closest to that levee. So I really think we need to be very careful and really think that through. The other thing too is we need to consider the timing of this and whether it makes sense, if you do go forward with that, to do it for next year, because we're really down. I mean, I do the STEM planning for the STEM week at Hilltop, and I'm helping get the program going at CH. And I mean, there are already issues with planning next year, which is well underway, because we don't know what the plan is. So you're sort of running out of time to get all of that done. So I think that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steph Kelly.
Thanks. Yeah. So I guess I'm going to beat a dead horse, but I also wanted to talk about the potential of the integration that is on the table, and I'm happy to hear that it's in the initial stages. But I'm concerned because, having heard you say that, a couple weeks ago I was out selling Girl Scout cookies with my daughter, and a number of disparate people were talking about this being a done deal. People that really don't have cross paths in their lives. So somehow, through different people of different aspects of the community, staff, just random participants, truly think that this is done. And that's part of the reason that I'm here, is that I heard it was a done deal. I was shocked because you sat in my house and said that it was not something that we were going to discuss because it wasn't there yet. We weren't ready for it. So I've actually spent the better part of a week doing research on this and going to the Educational Resource Information Clearinghouse. And I'm kind of actually concerned that it's even on the table after doing some of this research. So my question now is, you mentioned that there's an information gathering going on. What information sources are you using, and what's the initial thought dissemination process that's going on to even get us to the point of keeping this on the table?
Probably a lot of the same resources as you're taking a look at. Also, when we state that we want to be top 10 state of Ohio by 2017, we have a lot of conversations, and we're visiting those districts, and we're having conversations with central office and building level administrators to see how they're designed, to see that conversation going on. And it's very interesting, the type of conversations that we share with one another, and I'm going to definitely share that at those open forums. Hopefully you know me by now. I don't deal in rumors. I don't deal in hearsay. If you hear it from me, and you heard it from me today, initial stages, that's what we're at. And in no way have you heard, I'm sure, from any board member, central office staff, building level administrator, that it's a done deal. Until you start hearing that, or until you see any type of conversation that way, it's not. It's not. So I won't deal in rumors.
I didn't hear any of those firsthand from any of those sources, but I've heard that done deal, and that quote, done deal, from attributed to various people at those levels that you've mentioned. So,
Okay. Be reassured.
Thank you.
And I can assure you it's not a done deal. Absolutely.
What you said about getting our emails to you,
Yeah.
I get your newsletter.
Yes.
So will that be something that's on the
Oh,
newsletter?
most definitely. Oh, we're going to have frequently asked questions and how we would address those. Again, positives and negatives that are brought out. Definitely, bless you, bud. I mean, I look at them right there. That's what we're going to think of first.
And these open forums that are going to be going on, what is the format of those? Is it going to be a question and answer? Is it going to be some presentation of some of the information that you've collected? So there will be a dialectic to
Definitely.
delve into.
We haven't formatted it as of right now, but we're anticipating definitely receiving questions maybe on note cards and start addressing some of those. And if we can't do it at that evening, definitely keep it available, either the newsletter or through our new drone program. Definitely try to use some social media to get information out to people.
Just one last question. If you're even considering it, there's got to be some impetus to drive that consideration.
Definitely.
So what is that bottom line impetus to bring it?
Sure. A lot of the same things that we're talking about today. We have to take a look at how we're going to utilize resources in the future. We're looking at the technology committee's recommendations, teaching and learning committee's recommendations. We're going to redo and revamp our English language arts program and curriculum that way. Our math department needs to take a look at our curriculum along those aspects. Testing online. Again, commitment of staff and utilizing staff appropriately. Collaboration with staff. We have split staffs at this point. Them collaborating with one another, getting them in-house. A lot of things that a lot of other districts are looking at, and I think it's wise for us to look to improve. Don't change just to change, but if we see something we can improve, I think we need to really seriously invest some time into it.
Nothing, nothing will be hidden. I assure you that. And that's right. The emails and everything else, there's going to be nothing hidden. There's no hidden agenda at all.
That's part of the reason I was shocked to hear the done deal. And that phrase in particular was repeated numerous times. But
It only takes a couple people to start.
I understand.
And there you go.
Here I am.
I
right?
wouldn't think you heard that from a decision maker.
No, attributed to, but not.
I'm sure a lot of people attribute a lot of things that people say.
And have them contact the central office.
Sure.
If that's a concern for the done deal people, have them call, and questions will be answered. Have them email. Their questions will be answered.
Maybe be
That's
a key
what we're here
communicator for us and share what we said here tonight. Good. Share that with others.
One thing I want to assure you is lacrosse players put academics first, and I know that the principals were already busting about their chops. Can we let the lacrosse players and stuff go? We didn't want to interrupt and get up and walk out in the middle. Thank you for giving us your time.
Wait a minute, Kyle has to tell us his GPA before he leaves.
3.9 something.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Study hard. Read something.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, thanks. Good luck. Thanks, Phil. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Andrea?
Yes. Semesco. It's Andrea Semesco. But, yeah, so I'm here also to continue with the dead horse. I will say this. I see then when we talk about relying the schools, and when I look at the schools and I say, okay, when I see who is realigned, I see schools that are brand new. So that goes, I guess, are you guys visiting schools that are doing K through 2 and 3 and 4 with schools that are brand new schools? in communities where they're closing buildings, so it's making sense to go ahead and realign everything.
It's both, and I can just touch on this one item, where this all began. K through 5, K through 6, K through 4 buildings started in the 50s. 1950s it started. It started that way because to take care of the baby boom. Wanted to address increased enrollment, large numbers in pockets of grade levels. That's where it all began. Since that time, it started back in the 90s. The trend started to get away from that. It started to go down, and actually the last census in 2001 that I could find, only 36% of the schools in the United States, 36%, are in K4 or more structures. They are now going to K2, 3, 4, or 5, and true middle schools for several different reasons. And we'll express this as we get larger groups. And again, there's positives and negatives to everything. I keep going back to, what is it going to be best for kids? So, yes, some of them are restructuring, redistricting, however you want to say it, because of new buildings, but even the new buildings are K2, 3, 5. The non that we're visiting are then going towards that same structure. Again, countrywide, less than 40%, and if the trend is going down, sticking to a K4 or more. That being said, what's going to be best for Canfield? That will truly, we're going to continue that philosophy. Just because District A, B, and C are doing it doesn't necessarily mean it's good for us.
Because we're not getting new schools, right? Because we've talked about that, which is fine. And then we're not closing any buildings for the restructuring. That's all I'm trying to make a point.
We are trying to visit schools that are ranked ahead of us to find out what are they doing and become the greatest thief of knowledge and apply it to Canfield that we can, so that we can move our schools into the top 10. That's what we're trying to do. We're doing these visitations. I don't know, and Mr. Jordan's in charge of these visitations, and we're trying to get our teachers out and our principals out to ask people, what are you doing, how are you doing it, and then bring it back, and trying to steal anything that we can use to improve our students' achievement and our academic standing. That was actually how all this started. When our community got together and said we want to be a top 10 school by 2017, we said, how do we do it? Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to realign, but how do we do it is we go visit those schools that are ranked higher than us and find out what they're doing. And can we apply it to our schools? You know, we're not just going to apply it. We have to take into consideration our community before we do anything. Every community is different. Every community has a different set of situations, different sets of problems. We have to look at those, plus we have to look at what's good for our students' achievement. So that's where this started. Is we, as a board, said we're going to be in the top 10. Let's go find those people that are there, and let's get that information and bring it back here.
Now, those top 10 schools that you're looking at, are you guys looking at top 10 schools that are highly academic, AP classes, or are you looking at top 10 schools that are considered very well-rounded for our AP kids, for our middle kids, and for our low kids?
We're looking at performance index. Performance index takes into consideration all of those aspects.
All of it, okay.
Special needs, either end. Gifted, special needs that need some remediation, average level youngsters, advanced level youngsters, value added, them increasing in specific content areas, the entire gamut. So that's what we're looking at. And again, we're not visiting solely for this reason.
Right.
For this is being brought up as we're visiting.
This is all grade levels. We're trying to find out what they do at the high school level, the middle school level, the elementary level. So if we can implement that and help our kids, that's what we want to do.
These are school systems, not just schools, individual schools, school systems.
Right.
And right now I think we're what, 31st?
Yes, we are.
31st out of over 600 school systems. That's good, real good. And we're trying to get better. And you can only get better by studying those who are good and finding out what they're doing and taking the good things from them. Stealing.
Yes. Great feats.
Trying to grow. Trying to grow.
I have a question for you. What is the difference between junior high and middle and true middle school? I'm a business guy, so.
Well, that is the area that is really coming to the forefront when we're taking a look at why make a move like this. A lot of research, and I think you can talk to our own 5th grade staff. The social change, the emotional state, and this is coming from a father of a 13-year-old, that, and I hate to say this, we only have one young, the animal at that level is an interesting person. And the least amount of change that we can have in their life, they can adapt so much easier at that fragile stage. And a lot of the districts that we're talking to and the research that we're doing, change at 3rd grade or change at 5th grade, where is it better? And a lot of youngsters at a younger age handle change a heck of a lot better than those young adolescents. So, and that being said, they're growing up with one another all along. So they get together in kindergarten, they get together in 1st, and they're following through. And they're not needing to meet half of the population in some regards for the first time in 5th grade. Again, I don't want to come across as solely giving you the positives, because I see some negatives also. PTO participation, parent involvement. We talked about transportation. There are some negatives that we need to work out. So,
but what's the true middle school?
What's a true middle school?
Yeah.
It depends. If you take a look at the dictionary version, you look at middle school, you're looking at 6-8. You're looking at junior high, then you start looking at 7-9. Some districts are in that range. But if you look at a true traditional middle school, it's either 5-8, 6-8. And there's a definite bridge that needs to take place before you get to the high school.
So are you saying you're taking the 5th graders out of the
Oh,
middle school?
Lord, here we go. No, you're not hearing that. You're not hearing that.
I just asked a question for clarification.
I saw your eyes. No. You did not hear that from any of our mouths.
Guess what I heard at the Board of Education meeting last night.
Talk camera. No.
Okay,
No.
so
I mean, we have to look at facilities alone. And what we talked about, we're going to do all-day kindergarten next year. We have to make sure that we have the facilities to maintain that and to follow through with our promises. We're going to do that. We're going to have it. So we're signing youngsters up already with the anticipation of having all-day kindergarten. So we have to maintain that as well. Special needs, making sure that we have. And is it right for our youngsters to travel to one building or another, or is it better to have in each?
In each.
Okay, so there are issues that we need to address.
But we've watched Austintown build, 2 brand new elementary schools, a middle school, and now they're going to put a $48 million bond issue on in the May primary. Spread out over 37 years to try to build a $68 million high school. Now again, the state will give them 45%. That's great. We're not in a position to spend that kind of money on buildings if they're only going to give us 18%.
But if you talk to the people in Austintown, many of the parents are very unhappy with the new mega schools.
Why is that?
This is just too crowded. There's too many bodies. There's too many kids in the same grade level competing for the same space. They said recess, there's not enough room with all those kids at one time for them to actually play. There's not enough swings for nearly any of them. So that rather than improving things, but it's also putting that many bodies in the same place. I mean, you have half your 3rd graders at one place and half at the second place. You have twice as much swing set per third grade.
But they're 3 times the size of us, too.
Right. Well, they're also quite large, a bit larger. But I mean, the conglomeration has caused problems for the students as well.
I appreciate that. We're going to make sure that we're going to do what's right for our school system, and I'm sure they have issues to deal with.
I just hope you don't lose sight of what you're doing well. It's been working for 40 years. You have such a great community. I speak for Hilltop. I'm sure CH families feel the same way. And how important social, for these kids to feel like a community at their school is huge for their development. Besides, and in addition to academics, the importance of that is huge. And I don't think adding more classrooms per grade is actually going to get the kids to know each other in 5 years. They're probably going to be less likely. There's twice as many kids, less likely to make friends because the likelihood of being with any 1 or 2 particular kids in 5 years is even slimmer. They might see them, but they're not going to make the bonds like they would. They're not making the bonds and the connections with the teachers as they would. And to me, that's important. I like the idea of staff and faculty knowing my children and caring about them.
Make sure you come to those meetings and invite others to come to those meetings. Yes.
The dates of those meetings?
February 25th.
I believe they're on the marquees already as well. 25th at CH and 26th at Hilltop. This month.
Other than people asking questions, they'll be the same thing, right, at both schools?
Oh, yes. Yeah, not additional information will be given at the second meeting. 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock sessions at both buildings. 6 o'clock, yes.
So
we're trying to make it an evening for
people are there, so we can interact and listen, as we have done here. You're welcome. All right, if anybody would like to go now, if you can stay if you'd like. If not, you may go. Up to you. It will not be held against you. Don't worry.
He's been doing his homework, right? With bring your own device?
I left it on the kitchen sink.
No, he was doing his homework like this, right?
Okay, that brings us down to new business.
Yes. Thank you. We have personnel. I'd like to recommend for hire classified employees, sound and lighting technicians at $10 per hour for work being funded by an outside source. We would have exhibits for you with their information, but these are hirings that we've had in the past. So, we have Jeff Menser and Matt Stevens.
Okay. Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion to hire Jeff Menser and Matt Stevens as sound and lighting technicians?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend your approval of licensed substitute. That's your exhibit number 1, Ladonna Ambrosia Horton. And I'll consolidate the approved classified substitute also. That's your exhibit number 2, Ellen Coy, exhibit 2A, Rebecca McGowan, exhibit 2B.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion to approve the hiring of LaDonna Ambrosia Horton, Ellen Coy, and Rebecca McGowan? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend for hire classified staff Charles Millison, Hilltop Afternoon Custodian, 8 hours per day at $14.57 per hour, effective February 18, 2014. That's your exhibit 2C. And Donna Bowman, onboard instructor for training bus drivers. This is a rate correction. This should have read at an earlier date $20 per hour. So that's just a change.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion to hire Charles Millison and set the rate correction at $20 per hour for Donna Bowman?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Recommend to designate home savings as the public depository through August 2016.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion to designate home savings as a public depository through August 2016?
So moved.
Second? Okay. Discussion?
I have a question. Did you say D or A? A. Thank you.
I thought they were out of the business.
They were out of the business when we originally did the other depositories, and they've approached us now and would like to, they're back in.
Get back in the business.
So our other ones terminate in August 2016, so they're just going to pick up at the end.
Any further discussion? Do I hear a motion?
We had
a motion?
Yeah, a motion.
All right. Please call the roll.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to approve the 2014-15 school calendar. That's your exhibit number 3.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion to approve the 2014-2015 school calendar?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I'm assuming that you have not furthered your discussion with regard to a spring break with other superintendents. Is this still tied to Easter, the way it's traditionally been?
It is.
Okay.
And this is going to conform to the new law?
It is. By hours.
By hours?
Days. Yes, sir.
How many, in a traditional snow day scenario, what does that give us with the new law with hours?
More than 5.
Many.
Oh, really? My kids will be thrilled.
But that also includes 2-hour delays. If you have a 2-hour delay, that
Yes,
eats into that.
Yes, sir.
Right.
So, in other words, yes, we're going to school additional hours than we technically have to, which it should be.
So if there are no snow days, we're going to be having...
Well over the amount of hours.
All right. We have a motion and a second. May I have a vote, please? Roll call.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to adopt the resolution 58-214 providing for the issuance and sale of bus acquisition bonds. That's your exhibit number 4.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, I need a motion to adopt Resolution 58-2014 providing for the issuance and sale of bus acquisition bonds. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I have no idea why we do this. Could somebody explain that to me?
Yeah, me too.
Mrs. Kessler would be happy.
Pretty thick, too.
This allows us to pay for these buses over 3 years at a rate of 2.1%, and it uses inside millage that is, some of which has already been collected, sitting in the bond retirement fund, and it also frees up some of the other money in the PI fund, Permanent Improvement Fund, to allow us to do some of these other security upgrades and the roof repairs and some of that other stuff you saw in the facilities book here. So it's a great way, I think, to fund the purchase of $437,000 worth of buses.
And this is why you're our treasurer.
And we've done this in the past.
We've done this in the past.
This is not something new.
And the rate, 2.1%, it's a great rate. So.
Any further discussion or questions? Could you please call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to approve the request for summer school. That's your exhibit number 5, CHS Math, Science, and Social Studies remediation, June 10th through the 20th of this year, exhibit number 5A. CHS Phys Ed, June 10 through the 27th of this year, exhibit 5A as well. Bless you. CVMS, exhibit 5B, and CH Campbell, along with Hilltop Elementary, exhibit 5C.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I have a motion to approve request for summer school?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to make it noted that I would love to have more and more going on during the summer months, so our buildings are just not shut down.
Any further discussion?
I think I made my point earlier, but about camps would be nice to explore. Thank you.
I think it'd be great. All right. Could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend your approval Success by Six program at Hilltop Elementary, funded by the United Way.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, I need a motion to approve Success by Six summer program at Hilltop Elementary Schools.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? None? Could you please call the roll?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend the approval of the donations as they per the enclosed list. That's your exhibit number 6, totaling $5,624.01.
Based on the superintendent's recommendation, I need a motion to accept the donations as per the enclosed list.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Give it to Barry.
Discussion.
Too late.
I'd like to just point one of those out. We appreciate all of them, but Canfield PTO once again stepping forward, and I appreciate all their efforts to have that large sum of donation to Hilltop. Principal Fund.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes. Superintendent's update.
Yes, thank you. One issue I'd like to update you on, this actually just came about over the last day and a half. We are getting involved with a project with the City of Canfield, and there is a grant that is available, and it's actually been available for several years, but we would definitely like to get involved here. It's in collaboration with a local entity, public entity, along with school system. And what you're looking at here in red are new sidewalks. And what our part is we have to be a part of the grant proposal, is stating that we have local schools that could possibly utilize these sidewalks. And had a meeting today in City Chamber, and we went over, and it's not our part to say where these sidewalks are needed. It's the city's part. But it does have to be in proximity and would be utilized at local schools. And as you can tell, we've got a few here. Yeah, sure. As you can tell, they are around Hilltop and CH. The grant minimum $400,000. The project would not begin immediately. It's a long process. We might not even see anything come through until fall. But we're definitely would like to get involved with the city here and in collaboration and working with them to get this accomplished. No dollars out of either Canfield Schools or the city. Everything free and clear. So anything that you see that would be added, any improvements, any additions, would not come to any expense to either of us. So when that was brought to our attention just a couple days ago, we definitely threw our hat in and said, let's get involved. Other communities that have done this in the past, Poland just got involved in this, I believe, a year ago. Liberty was involved, Boardman was involved, and they mentioned Austin Town on the ground level at this point as well. So,
as you perhaps have another meeting, I'd like to see the streets marked maybe in a different color that have sidewalks to allow us to see the bigger picture of, if this works, fine, and then where do we still need?
I can ask Joe. Sure. Be happy to. So I just wanted to update you there and let you know what's been going on and with that project. As the middle school principals mentioned, along with elementary guys, the middle school, actually the camera installation will begin next Tuesday. So we're excited about getting that started, and the elementaries will follow. We appreciate definitely the Facilities Committee giving us some recommendations here, and we're going to follow through with as many of those as we possibly can, with the understanding we're not going to blow our budget out of the water, but we are definitely going to utilize and follow through with the promises we made during the campaign. One of the platforms we used was safety upgrades, and we're going to follow through with that, and we started immediately there. I was planning on just mentioning the elementary reconfiguration tonight. I think we definitely addressed that a little bit here, and we'll do that as we move forward with additional information. Just wanted to update you guys. I was going to let you know that building level meetings took place. Our first building level meeting, we're not going to stop there, and then also community forums are going to take place here in the near future, like we mentioned. ALICE training. If you remember back, we started this several months ago with our crisis response team. We presented it to our crisis response team and asked their approval that we go through with ALICE training. If you remember ALICE training, it's an active shooter or intruder into our schools. We first updated our crisis response team. We then educated and trained our staff in the fall on ALICE training. We're now ready to get it across to our youngsters. So we're starting that at the end of the month. We're formatting it age appropriate. What we're going to educate our high school students on in ALICE is completely different than what we're going to educate our most youngest of kids. So we have a program that we're going to have, and we're actually going to utilize our drama club because we feel that having role-playing and having our students see that with our own students, role-playing could benefit us in the long run of participation. So we're going to do that. The program we're looking at is a 7-12 type of a full-blown ALICE training, our version of presentation. Again, collaboration with Canfield Police Department. We are not doing this alone. They're involved completely. They are on board with all of this, and we just appreciate all of their efforts in this process. So we're doing 7-12, and then we're going to have a middle school version, 5-6, and we might be breaching down into the 4th grade, and then an elementary version. The elementary version is not going to be presentations and slideshows and enactments or reenactments. It's going to be our youngsters being talked to by their principals and their classroom teachers. Watered down, this is how we handle if a bad guy comes in, bad gal comes in. So we're gonna make it kid-friendly, and we have to make sure people understand. If you think about this, while our kids are growing up, we teach them at a very young age, stop, drop, and roll. Well, why do you stop, drop, and roll, Julie? We stop, drop, and roll because we're on fire. So when you think about what we teach our youngsters with fire prevention and how we handle that, we're going to make it appropriate for our youngsters with intruders.
Could you remind me of our crisis response team? Is that intra-district, inter?
It's all. We have guidance counselors, psychologists, in-house, outside. We have emergency response people, fire, police, EMS. We have county crisis individuals involved in that, building level administrators, building secretaries, board members. And actually we're looking to get those folks together again because we haven't met for a while.
Do you have them per building as well?
Yes. Yes. So, we mentioned about the sidewalks, and I will mention one other item. One-to-one devices. We're really investing a lot of time and effort into this. Right now we have 3 mobile labs, Chromebooks at our elementaries. Again, 3 at each because we have to split our resources there, but again, that's for another day. So what we're looking at now, one-to-one devices possibility 5-12, and how will that look? So what I mean by that is youngsters either bringing their own devices to school with them, utilizing technology, Chromebooks, laptops, iPads, or our school system giving them something to use. Again, 512. So we're investing a lot of effort that way in researching. That's all I have for you today.
Any questions?
I read my email, and I noticed there was an email from a gentleman who was concerned about safety in the schools and the fact that a student let another person into the building. Are principals aware and tell the kids that this is a no-no, absolutely not?
Repeatedly, we tell our youngsters many things throughout the day, and we have to revisit that with many of our youngsters. And when we are aware something like that happens, remediation takes place, and we remind them very carefully that it's not a good thing to allow anyone in a locked door. Anyway, there's a process, where to enter, how to enter each of our buildings.
There's that Good Samaritan. Right
Trying to help.
Seriously, that just being...
Right.
Right.
Open the door. So that is one thing. So we're teaching them to have manners and teaching them at the same time don't let anybody in. So it's.
I'll be nice.
Just wait a minute, I'll get you somewhere. That's it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying we have to overcome that.
Yeah.
That's all. Anything else for others? Liaisons, we're going to have reports starting next month. So if you have anything, we'll start those next month.
Which
put those on the agenda.
Building or?
No. Your legislative, that one.
Okay. Transportation.
Oh, transportation. You're everything. Anything else? Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session to consider the employment of a public employee. Do I have a second? A motion?
So moved, yeah.
I'll second. All right. Any discussions? Being none, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanser?
Yes.
Mr. Cronin?
Yes.